Okay, guys, today I wanted to do a quick video on how long it takes to build new homes. Now, obviously, I'm generalizing. If you're building a luxury custom home, it's going to be much longer, much more protracted of a process. But I'm talking about simple specs, simple track homes that a lot of the big builders build anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500-ish square feet, maybe 3 to 5 bedrooms, 2 to 4 bathrooms, 2 to 3 car garage. These sorts of simple homes that I build and that many of the big builders in the US build over and over and over again. And a couple other quick caveats to everything I'm about to say. This varies from place to place. If you are dealing with more difficult governments or governments that are slow about coming out and doing the inspections, because that's part of the process that can hold you up, is after each step you have to have the inspector come out. For me, it's Pueblo Regional Building Department. They send their inspector, they make sure it was done correctly, they stamp, yes, this was done correctly, then we can move on. This varies from place to place, and of course, weather. If you're trying to do this in northern Canada, you have a very short building window, and if you don't get done in time, you're stuck until the next year. Whereas if you're somewhere like San Diego, it's good to build year-round, almost 365 days a year. So, keeping all that in mind, I want to show projects I'm doing right now and talk about some prior projects and what sort of expectations you should have if you're going to do something similar. So, we are looking at 263 LaRue. It's currently on the market for sale. 264 LaRue, which is across the street. And these pictures were from yesterday. And we started these builds, again, 264, 264, 263, 263. We started these builds February the 24th, so that would have been 22 days ago. So yesterday was 21 days, 3 weeks exactly, and one of the houses is nearly totally framed, and the other will be in the same state by this weekend, at which point the plumber will be going into both and beginning the rough infrastructure. Now, this is very, very fast, but I think it's important that anyone going to do these sorts of projects understands that this is very feasible. There is no reason you can't get a simple new home like this built in 100-ish days, right? Now, this is all a matter of expectations with the contractor. If they're doing a bunch of projects and they tell you, hey, if you want me to build this, it's going to take 6 to 9 months, and you budget accordingly and the numbers still make sense, it can still be a good project, but it doesn't actually take that long. These are very, very simple. So I just got the second draw request from my contractor. I have one sheet for each house, but they're identical. And this really shows you the progression and how simple the steps are, right? So we did the excavation. Foundation, flat work is all the concrete, so there's quite a bit more that will be drawn there as we go along for the sidewalk and driveway. Now the plumber's starting and doing all of his rough work, right? And then electrical, HVAC, all the infrastructure and the subs that handle that do their rough infrastructure one step at a time, which will be happening here in the coming weeks, right? You see costs for framing, the lumber. We went over on material. Lumber has gone up recently. Not sure why, I say sarcastically, but the labor for framing was down a little bit, so this kind of evened itself out, right? Roof, labor and materials, gutter and downspouts. We'll start the stucco here very shortly. Once the framing is complete, they'll start doing the stucco. There's several layers. Got to order the garage doors, windows, and then we get into a lot of the interior stuff, right? From trim and hardware, mirrors to insulation, painting, flooring, cabinets, etc. And you can see how these houses progress and how simple they really are. And so realistically, we're 3 weeks in, 3 weeks and one day in. There's no reason we can't be done by the end of May or early June. When you look through this spreadsheet, most of this stuff takes a few days per step. Then, of course, the county comes out and inspects, and we move on. Now, again, things don't always go to plan. This was one I built a few years ago. I had problems with the contractor, and really it was just his ability to manage his subcontractors, his ability to order things on time so they arrived when needed. And we had a really rainy summer in Colorado that year, which really held us back. So this one took about 7 months. This one we started, oh, I want to say September, or excuse me, June of 2021, and it was a similar sort of deal where we knew what we were doing. We started at that time of year, so it took a while to get going, and then of course we had snow and rain and weather throughout the winter, and it didn't get done until February 2022. And part of that, again, was the same contractor I used for this one, same problems with managing people and managing ordering of materials, so it took much, much longer. So, it's really, really important that you set these expectations of time frame with your contractor, you budget accordingly, and you don't have any nasty surprises with amount of interest you've accrued or with loans coming due, construction loans coming due because your contractor is so slow. So what we're doing right here, where we're 3 weeks in and we're already framing out the house, this is very doable. And understanding that's important when you go to vet contractors because otherwise they might make you think this is a long, complex process where it has to take 6 to 9 months. It absolutely does not for these simple sort of builds. I mean, I'm here in San Diego, California, and I have watched homes go up in a few months. Now, here, the permitting process is obscenely long and slow and expensive, but once you're actually building simple homes like this, it's not that hard, and it can be done in 3 to 4 months. So, anyways, guys, I hope that's helpful. One more thing I really want to highlight is so much of this just comes down to the ability of your contractor to manage time frames around ordering materials. That's one of the biggest things that held us up on both this one and this one. The contractor didn't order things or check on how long it took to get them in time. Things were back ordered and we got delayed weeks and weeks, and then it caused delays with subcontractors because there's of course a cadence that it has to follow, and then one guy got delayed, which then further delayed the next one, and it just compounds. And so having a contractor that's effective at people management and then also planning and managing materials is absolutely key here. And this is going to save us thousands and thousands of dollars in construction loan interest because we are moving so quickly. And I actually think the constraint will be selling them, not getting the houses done. So, anyways, guys, simple spec homes like this can be done 3, 4 months easy. It's not unreasonable if you hire a contractor who tells you 5 to 6 months, but if you're building something this simple and they tell you, oh, it's going to take a year, that's ridiculous. So go out there and find a reliable contractor who can manage their time, their money, and their people.